Hello, my name is Audra Wilkins, and today I will be presenting my action research project titled Using Visual Schedules to Support Transition Behavior in Non-Verbal K-3 Students with Autism Spectrum Disorder. This research was conducted as part of my graduate work at Florida International University under the guidance of Dr. Elizabeth Kramer. Many children with autism spectrum disorder, particularly nonverbal students, struggle with changes in routines or transitions between classroom tasks and environments. These moments of transition, while brief, can result in anxiety, avoidance, and disruptive behaviors that affect not just the student, but the entire class. This project focuses on whether individualized visual schedules can provide the predictability these students need to reduce disruption and promote independence. Problem statement. In my K-3 self-contained ASD cluster classroom, I observed frequent behavioral disruptions during transitions. Students would call out, avoid tasks, or display resistance when expected to move from one activity to another. This created barriers to instruction and lowered student engagement. There was a need for a structured, easy to implement strategy that could ease these transitions and empower nonverbal students to engage with the daily routine more independently. Research question. My research question in guiding me through this project was, what is the effectiveness of visual schedules in decreasing disruptive behaviors for nonverbal students with autism during classroom transitions? My methods participants included 6 students, ages 5 to 6, all with IEPs indicating ASD as a limited expressive language. The setting was a public elementary school ASD cluster classroom in Broward County. Each student received an individualized visual schedule created with BeadMaker software. Instructions followed the gradual release of responsibility model: I do, we do, they do, you do. Data collected included frequency logs of disruptive calling out behaviors, transition checklists, and visual student satisfaction surveys. Now I'm going to talk about the findings and results of the survey. As I mentioned before, the introduction, transitions often trigger anxiety and disruptive behaviors in nonverbal students with autism, disrupting learning from the entire class. These transitions require executive functions and behavioral regulations, still skills that many students with ASD struggle with, and they need developmental structured support. My problem statement, as discussed, is, how do we help these students move through the day without the disruption of the frequency, the anxiety that they were having? So we used a behavioral, functional, and emotional uh, tracking system, such as for behavioral, we use frequency of disruptive calling out. For functional, we use independent during classroom transitions, and emotional self-reported satisfaction via visual icons. The first one, calling out behaviors. Um, in the first week, students averaged nearly 6 unprompted call outs per day. In week 8, that dropped to fewer than 1 call out per day. That's an 83% decrease in the disruptive behavior. Student A showed the most dramatic improvement after personalized visual support was introduced. Student C progressed slower due to irregular attendance and difficulty generalizing visual cues across the settings. With independent transitions in week 1, only 40% of of transitions were completed without adult prompting. But in week 8, that rose to 85% of transitions completed independently. That's a 112% increase in the student autonomy. Students B and D showed steady progress with repeated practice, and student E plateaued due to limited expressive language and high reliance on adult cues. Student 3, um, we track the student emotional engagement, the visual self reports. Students used a happy, neutral, and sad icon scale to report how they felt about transition each day. During week 1, only 43% chose the happy icon. During week 8, 92% of the daily reports showed a happy response. While there were dramatic increases in emotional comfort, we found that the more the students got used to utilizing the icons and understood what they were, for instance, student F moved from sad to neutral to consistently happy after visual supports were personalized with familiar characters, indicating not just behavioral but also emotional adaptation. Inter- Interpretations of results. If we look at our metrics for calling out independent transition and happy ratings, we see that in week 1, there was a -6 on the 6th day and 40% on independent transition, and happy ratings were 43. And you see that it changed. Um, Call outs decreased to once a day in week 8, and independent transitions went to 85, and happy ratings went up to 90. That's a change of 83%. Visual schedules reduced anxiety and helped students self regulate in call outs and independent transitioning. Students became more autonomous, relying less on adult supervision. That went up one, 112%. And then finally, happy ratings went up 114%. Students felt safer and more confident during transitions. These gains are consistent with findings from other research, Human et al. 2018, Ledbetter, Cho, and McJewett 2018, and Rosenberg, Swartz 2021, supporting the conclusion that visual schedules enhance both behavior and emotional regulation. Limitations. The study had limitations, including a small sample size and a short 8-week timeline. Staff implementation varied and disruption affected consistently. Student satisfaction surveys relied on a simple icon, which may have missed nuanced feedback. Implications. Visual schedules are low cost tools that can support independence and self regulation. They should be incorporated in daily routines and paired with ongoing professional development. General education teachers may also benefit from utilizing the visual supports with students facing communication challenges. Dissemination. Results will be shared with the school's ESE team, presented at district showcase, and proposed for journal publication. A simplified version will also be shared with families during autism support nights to promote collaboration between home and school. In conclusion, visual schedules help reduce disruptive behaviors and increase independent functioning. This intervention supports both the educational equity and inclusive practices. Thank you so very much for watching my presentation.